St. Thomas Aquinas caught my attention because he helped me separate three questions that I had been blending together. Where do human beings begin? What does the mind first recognize in anything it encounters? And what is actually first in reality? Those questions sound similar, but they do not have the same answer. So I condensed the distinction like this. Experience is first for us. Being is first in understanding. God is first in reality. That is the structure I want to make clear. Experience is first for us because none of us begins by standing outside life with a complete theory of reality. We begin inside experience. We see, hear, remember, desire, suffer, enjoy, question, and interpret. We encounter other people and discover that life is already happening around us. Living under the sun begins from this position. We do not first meet reality as a philosophical system. We meet it as a world already happening around us. A child begins with faces, sounds, touch, absence, comfort, and need. Even as adults, our deepest questions begin in experience. We encounter beauty and ask why it moves us. We experience injustice and ask why it feels wrong. We become aware of death and ask what a human life means. Experience is the doorway through which reality first reaches us. But experience is not the whole foundation. It is easy to move from saying, "Experience is where I begin," to saying, "My experience creates what is real." Those claims are not the same. My experience is real. My interpretation may contain truth, but reality is not simply whatever it feels like to me. I can misread a person, misunderstand my emotions, and believe something sincerely while still being wrong. Experience gives contact with reality, but it does not give automatic mastery of reality. This is why living under the sun begins with lived experience without becoming trapped inside subjectivity. Experience is the doorway. It is not the architect of the world beyond the doorway. The world can correct me. Other people can challenge my interpretation. Evidence can expose an error. Truth can require me to change. That would make no sense if reality were only a projection of my own mind. So experience is first for us. But what do we understand when we encounter anything at all? Before I know what a thing is, why it exists, or what it is for, I first encounter it as something that is. A tree is, a chair is, a memory is present as a real act within the mind. Another person is. Even when I am confused about the nature of something, I am already responding to it as having some kind of actuality. This is what it means to say, being is first in understanding. Being does not mean that everything exists in exactly the same way. A stone exists differently from a tree. A tree exists differently from an animal. An animal exists differently from a human person. A possibility does not exist in the same way as an actual event. A thought does not exist in the same way as the body thinking it. The point is that whatever the mind encounters, it encounters under the horizon of being. Something is there to be understood. It has actuality rather than being nothing. It has some nature, structure, form, or relation that makes it the kind of thing it is. This is why being is more basic than any specialized category. Before something can be read, heavy, living, intelligent, beautiful, or useful, it must in some way be. The mind may not explicitly say the word being every time it recognizes something, but being is already assumed in every act of understanding. If I ask, "What is that?" I have already recognized that there is a that to ask about. If I ask whether something is true, I am asking whether my thought aligns with what is. Being is the mind's first horizon. This also explains why truth is not merely an arrangement of words. Truth is contact and alignment between the mind and reality. The mind does not create the being of the thing simply by understanding it. It receives the thing according to its own limited capacity. That is why knowledge can grow. Reality is richer than the first impression. A doctor can understand more about the body than a child, and a close friend more about a person than a stranger. But both are reading what is there. Understanding develops because being gives itself to the mind in real but partial ways. Now we reach the third line. God is first in reality. This does not mean that God is the first object we notice. God is not usually first for us in experience. We encounter the created world, other people, and our own consciousness before we possess a developed understanding of God. Nor does it mean that God is one very large being placed at the beginning of a chain of smaller beings. The image is not of a cosmic object holding the universe like Atlas holding the earth. God is not one item inside reality competing with stars, bodies, and forces for space. God is first in reality because created being is not self-grounding. Everything we encounter receives existence. A tree exists, but it does not contain the reason for existence itself. A person exists, but none of us gave being to ourselves. The universe contains changing, dependent, and limited realities. The Christian claim is that these realities do not rest upon nothing. They receive being from God. God is not being in general, as though God were merely the shared category into which all existing things fit. God is the uncreated source of every participated act of being. Created things have being. God does not receive being. God is not made actual by something prior. He is the eternal source from whom all finite actuality is received. This is why the order of discovery and the order of reality differ. For us, the movement is often experience, then reflection upon being, then the question of the source. But reality does not wait for us to complete that movement. God is already sustaining the person who doubts Him. Being is already present before the mind names it. Experience is already taking place within a world we did not create. The foundation is first in reality, even when it is last in our explicit understanding. This protects the model from two opposite mistakes. The first mistake is to dismiss experience. Some forms of teaching begin with abstract claims and treat human life as though it were an inconvenience. But if truth never reaches experience, it remains disconnected from the person who must live it. The second mistake is to absolutize experience. That happens when personal perception becomes the final measure of reality. But experience needs interpretation, correction, and grounding. The proper movement is neither away from experience nor imprisonment within it. We begin with experience. We ask what the experience is an experience of. We recognize being. Then we ask why anything has being at all. That movement is not a rejection of life under the sun. It is a deepening of attention to it. Confusion, beauty, suffering, desire, conscience, and joy become doorways into larger questions. What is this? Why is it intelligible? Why can my mind encounter it? Why is there something rather than nothing? And what kind of source can give being without receiving it? This is where philosophy becomes more than information. It becomes orientation. Experience reminds me that I am located. Being reminds me that reality exceeds my interpretation. God reminds me that neither I nor the world are self-grounding. So the three lines should not compete. They belong to different levels. Experience is first for us because it is our doorway. Being is first in understanding because whatever we understand as something that is. God is first in reality because every created act of being depends upon the uncreated source of being. The order of our discovery begins below. The order of reality begins above. Living under the sun holds both together. We start where we actually are. We pay attention to the world as it is experienced. We allow experience to open into being, and we allow being to open the question of its source. Experience is not dismissed. Being is not reduced to perception. And God is not reduced to an object inside the universe. Experience is first for us. Being is first in understanding. God is first in reality. That is not merely a sequence of ideas. It is a map of how a finite creature can begin within life. Think truthfully about what is, and become oriented towards the source from whom all life is received.